Oopsie doopsie, I did it again with a new oopsie. Now this mistake was actually not made too recently. It was made a couple years ago, but I actually don't know exactly when, which might sound weird, but it'll make sense once I start explaining it. Now the reason I'm talking about it now is because I didn't realize this mistake until recently, and I've been thinking about it a lot the past week or two, so I put my thoughts in the videos, and I put videos on YouTube. So here we are now. Now to concisely explain this, I'm actually going to read my Twitter thread because I wrote one a week ago, which is exactly what I'm going to be talking about. But if it doesn't make sense, don't worry, I'll explain it all. But ultimately it revolves around GoHerping, which you mostly know as my YouTube channel, and Emerald Scales, which you mostly know as the website that I take in and rehome animals through. I recently realized the original plan behind creating a reptile service totally backfired. The purpose was to serve as a backup source of revenue if primary sources of revenue became unreliable. But somewhere along the way, the primary source of revenue became entirely dependent on the backup source of revenue. Interestingly, the backup has become my entire identity. This isn't inherently bad, but still unexpected. Like every time someone sees or talks to me, the first thing they think of or bring up was ultimately just a backup plan. It makes sense and is completely understandable, but it feels weird. People are surprised when they learn that what I'm best known for isn't actually my career or even necessarily my passion, probably because it comes off as a successful business. It's certainly not successful, and the most ironic part is Emerald Scales isn't even its own registered business of any kind. I don't mean to rant, I'm mostly just reflecting because this little project turns 4 years old next week. So many good things have come out of it, so complaining feels off. But I want to explore new ideas and projects. But I have no idea how when it's the indirect backbone of everything that I do. In our original game plan, Emerald Scales was designed to be easy to offload and put on hiatus for this very reason, because neither of us knew what we would want personally to work on in the future. But I totally messed up that structure without realizing it. So as most of you know, I am primarily a YouTuber. That is my primary source of income, and that's been my job since I was a teenager. That's the only job I've ever had, actually. Now in 2017, is when a friend and I decided to create Emerald Scales. You've heard this story probably many times, but I normally only talk about the front end of that and what the front end public goal was and the public point was, and that was to be a service to take in and rehome animals to good homes while taking a profit along the way. And we actually wrote this whole game plan, business plan in a Google document and had it all laid out, and ultimately our personal goal for this was to create an additional source of revenue. I wanted to be a full-time YouTuber, and although he didn't want to be a full-time YouTuber, he did have career goals. The thing we were building wasn't actually our end all be all goal. We didn't want to run this thing forever, and we actually were both willing to sell it someday. Our original plan, however, was for it to serve as an additional source of revenue, because being a YouTuber is not super reliable. In fact, having any job is not super reliable. If you're employed somewhere, you can get fired, you can get laid off, or you can no longer do your job. Say you get hurt or something and you can't physically do the job that you have. If you run a business, maybe you run out of customers, you run out of clients, you run out of money. So inherently, any single source of income is bad, and that's why it's always good to diversify your revenue. And that was the goal of Emerald Scales, was a form of diversification where we would hopefully someday employ other people to do the work, and we can simply take a cut of this recurring income. We launched Emerald Scales as an LLC, which is a limited liability company, but when me and him decided to part ways and try different things, we dissolved the LLC. So in early 2019, less than 2 years after Emerald Scales was created, it was actually no longer a company of any kind. Now the oopsie itself happened somewhere between 2019 and 2020. And this is when the primary source of revenue, GoHerping, which is an actual company, a small company, but it is a company, became dependent on the backup source. This just other little kind of side project. Primarily because Emerald Scales created such interesting content for YouTube. I was like, why wouldn't I make videos about all this? This is such good content, and it's performing so well when it comes to building emerald scales, when it comes to taking in animals and unboxing them. Now, what I did not realize while recording these videos is that people were primarily there for the reptiles, not so much for the growth of a side hustle or a small business or an extra source of revenue, that side of it. I thought that that was why they were mostly watching, but also it happens to be about reptiles, and reptiles are kind of cool. So say I switched emerald scales halfway through and I was like, actually, I don't want to do this. I want to build a car vinyl wrapping side hustle instead. Well, I would have actually lost most of the viewers. I didn't realize that because the viewers were putting reptiles first. They liked pet reptiles, they liked keeping reptiles, they like reptile videos, but they also didn't mind learning about the back end and the finances and stuff. When for me, the most interesting part of the videos was not actually the reptile side, it was everything else. But most people weren't clicking on the videos for that. And so throughout the year of 2019, everything started to revolve around emerald scales, and people knew me for emerald scales. I think the really interesting part is lots of people, like lots of younger people and teens, will email me with questions because they need to interview someone that owns a small business. I am in no way, shape, or form qualified to give any form of business advice. But what I do love doing is talking about my experiences. So if you do ever ask me a business question or a finance or money question, I have absolutely no idea what you should do. I simply know what I've done, what has and hasn't worked so far, and what I haven't done. So I'll happily tell you what I do, what my experiences are, and what's working and what isn't for me personally. Just no idea what you should do. But the funny part is every single person that sends me interview questions for, say, their school project, or asks me questions personally because they want to do something similar, 100%, maybe 99.5%, but basically 100% ask about emerald scales. I always expect them to ask about GoHerping because GoHerping is, well, an actual company. That's my job. That's my source of income. And that's what generates the revenue. But everyone asks about emerald scales. Now, that is in no way the fault of people asking me questions, because look at how I talk about emerald scales. I'm constantly mentioning the name. But basically, I kind of made it look like everything revolved around emerald scales, because that's where I was trying to push traffic and push viewers and get the name out there. And over time, I ended up actually revolving around emerald scales because this was growing faster than anything else, even if it wasn't actually making money. But that's okay, because the things that emerald scales does create such good content for GoHerping, and that's what pays off really well, both in a rewarding personal sense and in a financial sense that supports me and my bills and stuff. But of course, everyone that asks, they're like, well, hey, you own, like, your job is emerald scales, you're a business owner that it takes in and sells animals. I like to just call myself a YouTuber, but of course, because I am constantly talking about the emerald scales animals, because that's what makes good content, it seems like that my life is emerald scales, and so my life has become emerald scales. But interestingly, that never was exactly what I wanted. I mean, I knew, both of us knew when we were creating this thing, this is going to take a ton of energy, and even though we're both working like a full-time job hours on our own, well, jobs, we wanted to do this too. And so we work an extra full-time job basically, but hopefully temporarily. So just for ease of math, let's just say that I always spend 40 hours a week on GoHerping, which averages out probably somewhat accurately. I probably used to spend 60 to 70. Sometimes I spend 20 hours a week, sometimes 10 hours a week, other times 80 hours a week. So on average, let's just say 40 hours a week for GoHerping, which would be a full-time job. And then there's emerald scales, and we would spend 20 to 25, 30 hours a week usually on top of this. And this is totally fine. It's, you've heard the word hustle. The idea that you can temporarily really push yourself and exert yourself and sleep less and use more energy drinks to work on a project that you really want to. That was hopefully always temporary because, well, hopefully it would either someday become self-sustainable, or we decide this isn't for us, we don't want to do it anymore, let's just stop. And so that's when it comes down to why our original game plan was specifically designed to be easy to put on hiatus or easy to liquidate. We would never take in too many animals. We'd always keep the number low. We would never employ too many people or work with too many people that rely on us for their jobs. We never like rent anything out crazy. We were never gonna do like a 3-year lease on a place, because who knows if we'll do it for another 3 years. But I made the mistake of, once we separated, I kind of revolved everything around it, and it became harder and harder to put on a hiatus. So yeah, also, I think we were both 17 when we started this. I'm about to turn 22. We knew even as teenagers, who knows what we're gonna wanna do in our 20s. Maybe we'll want different jobs or whatever. We didn't know, and we knew that. Maybe we would wanna do it more, but we just wanted to leave options open. I've mentioned a lot in videos that I would like to take a break from Emerald Scales for many reasons, but I usually don't go into the reasons, and people are like, what are you gonna make videos on? Emerald Scales is your entire channel, which is kind of true. I don't really want to admit it, and I refused to admit it for a while. I've made lots of off-topic videos. Now those videos receive like almost 100% positive feedback, and those of you that watch them really love them, and I really appreciate that, because I really love them. But ultimately, they do not perform well enough. I mean, they literally just don't get enough views. Like, that's the most simple way to break it down. Like, I'm looking through the channel now. I haven't experimented too much because it is risky to experiment on a channel that you rely on. And so basically, my main channel needs all my undivided attention. But the problem is, for my channel to do the best that it can, as far as I can tell right now, I need Emerald Scales to exist. And to put it as honestly as possible, I don't want to do Emerald Scales anymore. I've hinted at it before. I've mentioned before that I want to try new projects. I want to take a break from Emerald Scales. And then of course, most people say, well, what do you mean you're gonna take it? That's like taking a break from your job. Emerald Scales is your job. And of course, yes, animals are being helped, but I feel like that's obvious enough. I don't need to keep mentioning it. But ultimately, from my perspective, I don't know what to do. How about that? That's a good way to say it. I truly don't know what to do. Because here's the dilemma. I don't believe that Emerald Scales and GoHerping at the same time are sustainable. But now I'm worried that GoHerping isn't sustainable without Emerald Scales. I've come to the personal conclusion that at the 4-year mark, I think that would be the perfect moment to just end it. Like, this cool 4-year project, thousands of people experienced it. It helped lots of animals. It helped lots of people. I got lots of experiences. And it's not even like a sad thing. It's like, wow, this cool project happened. Now it's time to end the cool project and start new cool projects. Now, in theory, if I had stuck to the original game plan, that could have worked out fine. My channel would be a totally separate thing. I keep making videos on whatever my channel is making videos on. And maybe I even show one of my next projects on the channel as a fun little side thing, as Emerald Scales was meant to be on the GoHerping channel right now. Here's an interesting statistic. 1/3 of the revenue I make every month is still from unboxing videos. And I've only uploaded 7. My channel has over 500 videos. And 1/3 of my monthly income is from 7 videos that just keep racking up the views. And I mean, I hope they keep racking up the views, but someday it's gonna run out of people that wanna watch the unboxing videos. So I will happily make more videos about Emerald Scales and why I think it's unsustainable, for example. But I do not at all want to end my YouTube channel. In my current state, I feel like I would happily do YouTube for another 10 years. I'm about to hit the 10-year mark. Why not make it 20? I've had so much fun, I would happily do it 10 more. I have multiple video series ideas, some of which are reptile related, but others of which have absolutely nothing to do with reptiles. And I certainly don't at all feel the need to incorporate all of my hobbies and interests into a channel. That's not even a good idea anyway. It's better to have your channel have a topic. But even if I just were to do reptile videos, the reptile videos that don't involve Emerald Scales animals just don't perform as well. But again, I can't take in any animals right now. I can't ship any out. If I could dedicate 100% of my time to Emerald Scales, I do believe that it could grow and become more successful. I just simply don't want to. Which I think is, I used to feel guilty feeling that. That's why I'd never say it. Now I don't feel guilty. I've changed I started creating Emerald Scales almost 25% of my life ago. I was a quarter younger. A lot of the things I've gotten to do were literally achieving my childhood dreams. But now I'm not a child, I'm an adult now, and I have different dreams. And so it's like, cool, I did those, now I want different things. Unfortunately, it gets even more complicated though, because of the fact that I'm in the middle of so many rehoming things with emerald scales. There's like 40 people waiting to send their animals, which is a total of like 60 something animals, and that's going to be very hard. Just a little sneak peek of how emerald scales I don't believe is sustainable. I can essentially only run it 6 months a year because of shipping, if that. The past couple years, it's been like 4 months a year because of so many additional shipping issues that are completely out of my hands, which really sucks. I mean, I can't drive to California every week, which is where the majority of animals end up getting purchased from. And so, yeah, a hard part is that when it comes to reptile content, by far the best performing reptile content is when I have lots of reptiles to show you. But if I'm not taking them in and sending them out, then that's not the same. So I've had countless ideas with exactly what to do. For example, one idea was, what if I just take in 5 to 10 animals at a time? No more, just 5 to 10. Do an unboxing video on 10 or 5 even, make a couple videos on those and then ship them out. Maybe that's what I'll do, who knows, but that is literally the opposite of growing. That is shrinking. Because that's what I used to do. I used to take in 5 to 10 at a time. If I go back to that, where's the room for growth? Where do I go from there? One thing I keep thinking about is back when I had 600 subscribers, which I think is funny. I think it was 600 because now I have 600,000. And when I had 600 subscribers, I went back and forth in my head for weeks on end if I should change the name of my channel. And I was absolutely terrified to. What if I lose everything I've built so far? Because at the time, that community of 600 people was so absolutely massive to me that I was so scared I was gonna mess it up.
Hey, I'm Alex, and today I'm going to be talking about a pretty big announcement for the channel and website NC Nature News. So actually, in a little bit, the NC Nature News will no longer be known as NC Nature News, and I am going to be changing the name. So before I talk about the new name, the first thing I should say is nothing else is changing. The website and YouTube channel that you're subscribed to and follow, it's not going to change. You're still going to be interested in it because it's going to be the exact same stuff. Same videos, same series, same me, same everything. All that's changing is the name, which that's a pretty big thing. And I'm doing it because I think it's for good reason. The new name that I came up with is GoHerping.
But if I had stuck with my original name and never changed the path of my channel, say I built it from there, then I would have been unhappy so much sooner with where it would be, because I simply would have just been growing that because I was too scared to change it. And so I'm kind of in that same position now again, of I have 600,000 subscribers now. If I change something, this could totally ruin everything. And I was like, wait, that's exactly what I thought when I had 600 subscribers, and it worked out great when I finally made the change to make that pivot and change my name and slightly alter my videos. So I'm in that same position, but I'm like, realistically, 600,000 is a lot more than 600. And also now I have like things I have to pay for, but then I didn't have anything to pay for because I was 14, 15, something like that. So it's just this weird repeat of history, of my own history from like 6 years ago of, oh my God, I really want to make this change, but I'm so scared to, and I'm doing it again. I really want to make a change, but I'm scared to, and I don't really know exactly how it would work out and what I would do. So it's the same experience. So yes, I could continue to downsize. I could probably fit 5 reptiles just in this room behind me and just have emerald scales be this, but that just feels like the totally wrong direction. And I made the right choice the first time with 600 subs. I know it's a very different decision now, but that's kind of how I'm reminding myself, and why I'm not trying to just like beat around the bush of making tiny changes, because I kind of want to make a bigger change. I just have a lot more that I'd be risking, and also I'd be really scared. I can't figure out which one I would regret more. I think a lot of decisions that people make is based on what you will regret the least in the future, because you don't want to die with regret. I feel like every decision you make is ultimately, am I going to regret this on my deathbed, or am I going to regret that on my deathbed? And then you pick the one that you won't regret. I feel like maybe that's not. And so this is one where I truly can't figure out, am I going to more so regret continuing on the same path and growing it even more, even if it's not the path I want to do, even if it's working? Or am I going to regret more changing it, risking what I've built, and possibly ending up in the same position? What if I did keep altering content until it starts to perform better and I enjoy it more, and then I get bored of the content again, or I don't want to do that anymore? Am I gonna just keep changing it in this like constant struggle? Because that doesn't seem right. So ideally, I would love to be able to just keep making reptile videos because I feel like I'm good at it. I enjoy making the videos. Even if reptiles aren't my #1 all-time passion, I mean, so what? Does that really matter at the end if I enjoy it enough to do it and it performs well and viewers enjoy it? Like, that seems like the ideal scenario. The one problem with that, which I've been kind of comparing it to, like, say I was a Minecraft YouTuber. I'm sure being a Minecraft YouTuber is hard. I actually used to have a Minecraft channel, and you just open up Minecraft and you make the video. Even if, say you hated Minecraft, well, you could still open Minecraft and make a Minecraft video, even if you don't enjoy it. So even if I hated making reptile videos, which I don't hate making them, I actually do enjoy the videos that I'm making, but I can't just magically make reptiles appear when I want to make a reptile video and then the reptiles disappear. The reptiles need lots of resources, money, time, space, heating and electricity, the food, just the personal time to make sure that they're comfortable with handling and being held and being taken out and healthy, and all the little things that come along with it. So it is a bit harder. It's not like I can just, the way I walk in here, flip a switch, all my lights come on, I click go on the camera, I click record on the mic, and I'm good to make a video. I really love that process, but then it's like, oh, if I'm doing a reptile video, I also have to have this whole room dedicated to animals with all these setups, and yeah, I already said all that, so I don't have a solution yet. This can be considered part 1 to my quarter life crisis. And I mean, yeah, I'll definitely read the comments if just whether you have input or ideas or whatever, but I'll keep you updated and let you know what's going on. Thanks for listening to my very long rant where I basically just go on and on about the same thing with no solution, which secretly I'm just recording the video to hope that I figure out a solution along the way while saying this stuff out loud, but I have not come up with a solution. I do have many more reptile videos coming up that I've had a lot of fun making. I really like making the Reddit and Instagram ones, and although they don't do as well as an unboxing video, I'm really grateful that you like those videos too, and I'll keep them going. So I'll keep on doing those and exploring new ideas at the same time, and I'll be thinking. So that's it for this video. I'm Alex, and thanks for watching.